2019 should be a very interesting year for video game hardware. Of course, a lot of people are expecting both Xbox and PlayStation to at least announce or reveal some of their upcoming hardware for the next generation of video game consoles. There's also the rumor that the Xbox Maverick, a diskless Xbox One system, could be coming to the marketplace as soon as May of 2019. But another company that a lot of people need to start focusing on has to be Google. There's been a lot of rumors circulating that Google will be entering the home console market. And as we get closer to Game Developers Conference 2019, where a lot of people are expecting Google's console to be unveiled at, there's a lot of rumors floating around. There's a lot of information, and there's even a controller leak and possibly some potential upcoming partners for Google's next console. So in this video, that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about this supposed partnership that could be potentially happening between Sega and Google for their new home console. So what's going on with this? What is the Google console? What do we know about it so far? And what do I think about this partnership? Sit back, relax, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and let's talk about what's going on with this potential Google and Sega partnership.
Hey, RGT 85. Hey, Sean.
Oh my God, it's Stevie Richards! So of course, Google is one of the biggest companies in the world when it comes to money. So if anyone's going to get into the video game marketplace and have a chance at somewhat succeeding, it would have to be Google. Now, of course, there's been lots of rumors circulating that Google will be unveiling a console at Game Developers Conference 2019. Now, a lot of this information is coming to us from a video that both Spawnwave and Liam Robertson did together in collaboration and then posted it yesterday. I'll have a link to that video in the description box down below. If you want to get sort of the nitty-gritty about the system and what is potentially coming, I suggest you check out that video after checking out this video. I'm more interested in this potential partnership, though, that was talked about in that video. But the Google console sounds like it could be potentially very interesting. It seems like there's going to be several different SKUs of this console, meaning that there's going to be different console variations. Some will obviously be stronger than others. Supposedly, the top tier Google console will actually be stronger than the strongest console that is currently on the market, the Xbox One X. So a lot of people are sort of wondering, what this could potentially mean for the future of video games. Like I said, Google has a lot of money. They have a lot of money that they can throw into this device. Now, one thing that has been circulating recently is an artist rendition of a patent that Google applied for back in October of 2018 for a controller for their home console. Now, this artist rendition is pretty much taking what the patent looks like and making it into an actual feasible, tangible project. Now, this isn't saying that this is a confirmed picture of the controller, of course, as it is just an artist rendition, but it is based on the patent that Google applied for. And looking at this controller, wow, there's kind of some problems with this controller, I feel. So looking at the controller, I could definitely spot a few areas that definitely need improvement. I don't even know where to begin with the problems I have with this controller, but let's start with the grips. I feel like those grips are far too wide. It looks very uncomfortable. It almost looks like an Ouya controller design in terms of how it's going to hold into your hands. And the Ouya controller wasn't really bad, but it wasn't really good. And I think a controller is very important when it comes to, making a home console, because you got to be able to control the games. Looking at the D-pad for the Google controller, it's very skinny. It doesn't look like it would be very comfortable, and it doesn't seem like there would be any sort of 8-way directional control over the D-pad of this controller because of the way it's designed. It doesn't seem like there's any, down right. It's just sort of down and then right. So I would be very curious to see, the technology behind that D-pad. Moving on, you have the analog sticks, which are almost the size of the buttons of the controller. Like, they are very, very tiny, and I could see people's hands, flying off with these analog sticks. They don't look like they're very comfortable. It doesn't look like there's a good grip on them, and honestly, they're just way too damn small. I don't know how you'll be able to play any major games with this small little analog stick. The face buttons on the controller look fine. They are, once again, kind of small, but I don't necessarily hate them. You can also see a home button for Google that will probably bring you to a Google website. There's also a home button for probably what will be the menu system. There's been some mock-ups of what the menu system is potentially going to look like with the controller as well. You can also see a microphone button that I would assume you would press. Maybe the system has the controller has a built-in microphone that you would use to talk with other players or possibly to navigate through menus. You can also see the top of the controller has some triggers on it, and once again, they just don't look very comfortable comfortable. They're like big rectangles, and I just don't know. They don't look like they would be, you know, very feasible when playing a modern game on this console. And obviously, if the system is going to have a SKU that is more powerful than the Xbox One X, there's going to be very modern games on this system. Another major question about these various lines of Google consoles is there going to be any sort of physical medium when it comes to the consoles? The general train of thought right now is that the cheaper consoles will be more streaming consoles, and the higher end consoles will have you download the games and we will play the games natively on the system. And of course, if they're doing something that is as or stronger than the Xbox One X, obviously those games are probably going to run better when you're playing them natively on the console. There'll probably be some graphical updates for them as well. Probably a lot like a PC architecture, where a game can run on a variety of PCs, but the top end PCs get better specs than the lower end PCs. And of course, the streaming service is very interesting as well, though, because we've seen Google do streaming with games before, and this was with Ubisoft, who is more than likely going to be a partner with Google with this console because of Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Of course, Assassin's Creed Odyssey was streaming with Google's Project Stream, and a lot of people were having very positive results with this streaming service. You know, the game was running at pretty high resolutions with no frame rate dips. There was the occasional hiccup there, here and there, but for a launch game for Google's Project Stream, it ran very, very well. I did not have a chance to check it out myself, as I did not get involved in the beta of the program, but a lot of people that did play it and a lot of people that I talked to that played it actually had a very positive experience for this, because it's Google. Google is a massive, massive company. But probably the biggest thing to take away from SpawnWave and Liam's video is the fact that supposedly SEGA is going to be involved in this. Now, they did not name any sources when it came to how they came to the conclusion that SEGA was going to be involved with this. But if you know anything about SpawnWave, you know anything about Liam Robertson, they are two very trustworthy individuals. I am friends with both of them. I talk to them off the record very often. I'm very good friends with them, and I trust them. So SEGA potentially being involved in the Google console automatically raises a whole bunch of questions, because like I said, if you're going to show up at Game Developers Conference 2019 and showcase a new system, you need to have a lot of software partners lined up with you. If you're going to get people to be excited about your console, you need to have a reason for people to get excited for the console. And of course, software sells consoles. Software is pretty much what drives console sales and what makes people attached to a certain console. If you want to play a game like Uncharted or The Last of Us, you pick up a PlayStation. Sure, you can stream it onto other devices nowadays, but if you want to play the game natively on the system, on your television, you of course would pick up a PlayStation. If you want a home console experience of Halo, you would pick up an Xbox branded system. If you want a Mario game, a Zelda game, you would pick up a Nintendo system. So if this is just a third-party stream machine, would people necessarily really care about it? Now, what's interesting is Liam followed up this report with a tweet saying that he did not feel that there would be an exclusive Sonic game for the Google Home console. Now, obviously, Sonic is sort of losing his luster, but he's still a pretty big deal in the world of video games, and he could potentially have been a mascot for the Google system. And of course, Sonic is fresh in everyone's minds with the upcoming Sonic the Hedgehog movie, which looks interesting. We have not talked about the Sonic the Hedgehog movie yet on the channel. Once there is a trailer drop for that, we will be looking at the trailer and probably cringing, but I'm still sort of hopeful the movie itself will be okay, but I'm quickly losing hope for this. So what would SEGA be potentially doing with this Google console? Obviously, SEGA was a huge manufacturer of consoles back in the day. They were always on the cutting edge in terms of graphics, in terms of technology, and they were big risk takers. I could foresee a lot of older games, you know, arcade ports, maybe stuff that you see on Xbox Live coming to Google's new console, but I don't feel like that's enough to sell new consoles. So is SEGA working on something that would be exclusive aside from Sonic that would be available on this console? Is Ubisoft working on something exclusive for this Google Home console? I don't know, but Game Developers Conference is going to be very interesting because of this. Now, I've seen some people online talking about the fact that would this have any sort of impact on the Sega Spartan? And no, it would not have any impact on the Sega Spartan, because the Sega Spartan, people, it's not real. It's really just a pipe dream that a couple diehard Sega fans have come up with. And if you actually look at what the Sega Spartan is, it's pretty much an idea to pitch something to Sega to get them back into the home console market. And that's never going to happen, unfortunately. The only way Sega will ever be involved in the home console market again is if they team up with someone like Google that's being rumored about to enter the home console market. There will never be a dedicated Sega home console again, because that ship has sailed. There are no more sailors there. That's a Shenmue reference if you didn't pick up on that. But no, I think the only way you'll ever see Sega get involved in the home console market as far as hardware would be concerned would be a collaboration, not a dedicated system. And the Sega Spartan really is just a pipe dream that people want to pitch to Sega in hopes of bringing them back to the market. But all I know is Game Developers Conference 19 now is something that I'm going to be paying a lot of attention to. I want to see how deep this partnership that is supposedly happening with Sega and Google on their home console really runs. Will it just be simple ports of games that we've already seen, or is there going to be exclusive stuff? What is Ubisoft bringing to the table? Will they be bringing in exclusive stuff? What other game developers are involved with this Google console? Because if you don't have software, nobody's going to care about the hardware. But it's going to be a very interesting time. So let me know in the comments section down below what you feel about this. Are you even interested in Google's home console? Do you think it has a chance to succeed? And what companies do you want to see involved in this console? What games do you want to see come to it? And do you think it's going to have things like exclusive games on there to really drive home hardware sales? Like I said, make sure you guys check out Spawnwave's video on this topic as well. There is a link in the description box, and as always, I will catch you guys on the next video. Later.